Hi, I'm Lucy Mallard, a 16-year-old student at Tampalpais in California, and the founder and CEO of Unofficial Wear.
Whether you were in high school 5 or 50 years ago, school merchandise was pretty much the same. Dark colors, blocky, masculine font, unimaginative, bland designs that are interchangeable with the merchandise from any high school.
Most merch, beyond that of the high school itself, was likely just for a few sports teams, and those were typically boys' teams.
Think football, soccer, basketball.
The same groups that already get most of the attention and all the glory.
And other clubs, like theater or math or dance or yearbook, forget about it. They get the message that their passions aren't worth celebrating. So the interests of over 90% of the student body gets, well, ignored. Today, there are only 4 or 5 national companies that supply the majority of North American schools. They purport to be an easy mechanism for raising funds, but often lock underfunded districts into multi-year contracts that generate very little money for the schools. In fact, many high schools get only 5% of the profits from each sale, even though it's the schools that do the marketing and supply the entire customer base. The result? Designs that are out of date, student groups that are excluded, and school districts that forfeit almost all the revenue.
That's the official way things have been done for well over 50 years.
And that's what Unofficial Wear set out to change. I started Unofficial Wear to produce higher quality and more inclusive school merchandise that more authentically represents the student body and celebrates a wider breadth of student interests. But I discovered an even bigger blue ocean opportunity along the way. More on that in a second.
Here's how it worked at my high school when I prototyped the approach.
To begin, I personally got to know a dozen of our widely popular but completely overlooked clubs. Take our mock trial team. This is the most successful mock trial team in California state history. It has been coached by an actual trial attorney for over 30 years. He's so passionate about this team that every time they win a county, state, or national title, he gets it tattooed on his arm. How amazing is that? And yet, their merch has been, well, some version of this, for years. So I redesigned it to better reflect what is so authentically unique about this club. Or take our theater program. It's considered one of the best in the country, but again, not judging by the merchandise. It's all about understanding a club's most authentic stories. In this case, students have been hiding the same stuffed bunny backstage for 30 years. No one knows how it started, but there's an unspoken rule that if you happen to stumble across it, you hide it somewhere else for the next actor to find, months or even years later. So I included the bunny in the new designs. It's one of those if you know kind of things, making the merch even more authentic. For my high school itself, I used our famous arches and combined them with the colors that hit the campus in the late fall to make a beautiful gesture to this key architectural feature. Now the logo is unmistakably Tam High versus generic high school USA. I created an e-commerce website and started marketing, hanging posters, sharing on social media, showing up at local fairs. I've even been invited onto multiple entrepreneurship podcasts. Along the way, I realized that my approach was actually way more efficient than the national companies. Each $40 hoodie I sell generates $12 in profit even after I pay $5 in commission to the student artist and make an $8 donation to the school, and we haven't even scaled yet. This approach delivers 20% of the revenue back to my school, quadruple what the national companies were offering. With over 17 million high school students in the US, Unofficial Wear could clear over $200 million in profit on hoodies alone, plus $40 million in school donations.
That's when I realized my most important blue ocean breakthrough.
To prototype Unofficial Wear, I needed to learn a dozen critical business skills, from gathering customer insights, negotiating with school administrators, sourcing responsible textiles, managing inventory and production flows, building an e-commerce platform, and developing core product design and marketing skills. As I scale Unofficial Wear to include other schools, I identified a founding team of entrepreneurs at each to run the business end-to-end for their school, which means it's not just a merch business. It's a way for students at any high school to build hands-on, real-world business skills across a wide variety of disciplines, whether they're into art, computer science, management, or anything in between. It's created a whole new playing field in the school merch industry. Unofficial Wear inverts the assumption that bigger is better. In this case, the hyperlocal and hands-on approach leads to more authentic designs, less waste, more money for schools, and far deeper learning and community building for students.
It disrupts a dated and low-value business model and replaces it with an inclusive and high-value learning experience. The whole point of School Spirit is to reflect and celebrate the entire school's community. It's time for merchandise and our approach to creating it to do the same.
Unofficial Wear. Support your school in your own style.